Hello, this is Gio, and I'm continuing to work on my Stern Flight 2000 pinball. As you can see, I got it out of the pinball game. I removed most of, all the components from the surface, and most of the components on the bottom, although I left a lot. Well, actually I left most of the stuff on the bottom, but it's out of the way and I could work on the surface. And as you know, I'm going to be rehabbing, painting, clear coating this playfield. But the first thing I have to do is get rid of the Mylar that's on the surface. And let's see if I can kind of zoom in here and so you can see what's going on here. This is like a sheet of Mylar here, sheet of Mylar here. There's a little cut seam there, no Mylar here. There's been some ball damage right here. And the Mylar is in various stages of disrepair. You can see it kind of peeling up. And before I redo the paint job on this and clear coat it, I have to get this Mylar off. And so that's what we're going to do today. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. One, and the way I'm going to do, is just with duster air spray. And here's just some dust off, and you basically turn it upside down and spray it, and it freezes the glue and allows it to kind of peel off, hopefully without removing any paint. There's always a risk when you do this Mylar removal, because depending on the condition of the paint underneath and the finish, you could be removing paint, and so you want to be careful with that. Another method, which I'm not going to do, is a heat gun. You actually kind of heat up the surface, kind of rotating it, and it heats up the glue, and the glue basically softens enough so you could peel this off. Now I'm not going to do that for a couple of reasons. One, in general, most people kind of want to go with spray. Some people do like the heat gun, but I've discovered that with certain types of, if the playfield's in certain kind of condition, it could actually bring up the paint. It could soften up the paint and it could bring it up. And even the areas outside the Mylar, if you're heating like right here where there's Mylar, no Mylar, you could actually damage the paint here. And I'm not sure if you could see this, but this paint here is not in the best condition. When I kind of clean this up, some of this paint will probably come off just with the standard cleaning. So let's go ahead and try this freezing method and see how it works. So I have a little apologies. I did actually jump quite a bit ahead. I did get some of this Mylar up, but first I was doing some experimenting, and I was doing the experimenting with, of course, the air spray freeze spray. And if you move way down here, I did a little test spot right here, and guess what? Look at that. That's paint coming up. And I also tested a spot there. I tested one other spot just for sake, but you kind of turn it over. Oops. You kind of turn it over and you kind of just spray the air until it kind of freezes, and then it'll peel back up. And it actually did peel up, but for this test spot and that test spot, you can see how much paint actually peeled up. And I was a little bit surprised by that. I've never experienced that amount of paint. So there's something about this playfield that really doesn't work well with the freeze spray. So I switched gears and tried the heat gun. And I lost my heat gun here. Alright, here's my heat gun. And so I was working with this and kind of moving it around. I'll show you some videotape of that, and it was very successful. And you could see the big pieces of Mylar coming up. You can also see the residual kind of glue that is underneath the Mylar. We're going to have to get that off, and I'll show you how to do that later. But so in this particular case, I have to backtrack and say, well, I'm not going to use the freeze spray. I am using the heat gun. So let's see me do this. Okay, so I got the sheet of Mylar off of this area, but around these pop bumpers here, this is actually an older Mylar ring that was around these pop bumpers, probably installed when they originally made the game. And I'd like to take that off as well. So I'm just going to take a small little blade here and find a nice little spot to start in. Well, hold on. This is actually a nice little lip right there. Let's use that. And we'll see if we can get this up. Now this is the original Mylar. It seems a little stiffer than the other one. And what I'm going to do is actually cut this. There you go. And so this is coming off about as easy as the other Mylar did. So this piece is a little large, so I'm just going to break it into 2 pieces and kind of just work on this one for now. Okay, so I've successfully got the Mylar off. There were little tiny spots that brought up some additional paint, like these little spots here. This was under the Mylar, a couple of little chips here and there, but again, I am going to be repainting this, and most of these colors are pretty complete. Like black is pretty easy to touch over. I just have to mix these colors, and once I have a mix, I could just kind of clean up all those little spots. The big spots, of course, are here. Of course, that's where the Mylar was not. So the areas where the Mylar was, it's in probably the best shape of the whole board. So now I am in the process of getting all the sticky goo, the gum that was underneath the Mylar. All the glue did not get removed when you removed the Mylar. There's a couple of ways to do this. You can go with Goo Gone. Here's a little spray bottle. I also have, I think this is a little more concentrated Goo Gone. And that does work. You could slowly do that and it dissolves it, and you kind of just keep on wiping away. My preferred method is just to grab some isopropyl alcohol. I have 91% isopropyl alcohol, and that pretty much dissolves it just like Goo Gone. And I kind of off and on use flour. So when it gets wet, it's kind of getting dissolved, and then I add a little flour, and that kind of picks up the extra residue. At least it kind of works for me. And so I'll show you how I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm kind of aiming at a little spot with reflections that you can kind of see what's happening. And so just with my hands, I'm just going to add a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and just kind of start rubbing this area. And as you rub it, you will notice that the glue's kind of getting a little softer and kind of moving around. And as you do this for a while, now I have to warn you, in these little insert areas, by rubbing you will kind of pick up more paint. Fortunately, it's all black, so it should be pretty easy to paint. And when I clean up this whole, I'm gonna, after I get the glue up, I'm gonna be kind of just doing a deep cleaning of this before I paint, and that will bring up some paint. So when you're doing rehab work, you kind of lose some to gain some. So And then I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but it does eventually kind of just start dissolving. And then I'll throw a little bit of some flour, and it sounds kind of abrasive, and I kind of notice you kind of feel almost a grit. Now that's not the flour, I don't think. That is the glue coming up, and it actually kind of gives you a gritty feel. So a little more flour, and then that kind of helps pick it up. And let's see what it's looking like now. Let's see if I can move this stuff away. And then trying to clean up. Let me get a towel here. So a lot of the glue got picked up by the flour, and this is not a quick process. You're going to be going over this again and again and again. And let's just see how well that worked there. Did that work? A little bit. You can kind of see the glue is, a lot of the glue is gone. And you just continue doing this, and eventually this entire area will be glue free. Again, it's not a fast process. I don't recommend that you use magic eraser. I will be using magic eraser after I get this glue off, but I don't want to. Magic erasers are pretty abrasive, and you don't want to just use it just willy-nilly. So this will dissolve it, and we'll get the glue off. You just have to have patience. See if that's working a little bit by a little bit. So I hope this video helped you out. At least it showed you how to do the heat gun method for the Mylar, and how to clean up. Again, Goo Gone will work. Eventually you just kind of work it. So good luck on your project, and I'll see you on the next phase. Bye-bye.